because there are two parts to this definition. The land is nature's part, and improvements are humans' part. So it's this kind of combining of humans and nature, right? It's this coexistence, this synergy of humans and nature, right? I think which is very Hawaiian, kind of treating and respecting each other. And they both have to come together in this definition of owning property and owning land. It's like Native Hawaiian ideas of being on the land and part of the land, right? So, one more piece of Lego to this definition is found down here real property. So, it includes the prior two definitions real estate, which comes in two parts, and something very, very interesting and very, very important called a bundle of rights. Okay, so your bundle of rights are your legal rights, powers, privileges, and ownership of real estate. So this is a very, very key concept. Okay, very key concept because not only are we talking about these physical things, real estate, a property, things that are done to it, but now you're talking about rights, legal rights. Okay, so real property, these bundle of rights tells you what you can and can't do with what you own. Okay, and further down it's defined because it's very important. The rights of an owner of freehold estate to possession, enjoyment, control, disposition of real property. Okay, so you can enjoy it, you can own it, you can sell it, you can burn it down with a flamethrower, whatever you want to do. You can paint your house pink, right? All these bundle of rights tells you what you can do. You can own 100 dogs in your yard, whatever you want to do. Okay. Um, Bundles can be larger or smaller depending on each individual property. Okay? And if we look at it this way, okay, a bundle of rights, property rights, they're kind of like sticks or they're kind of like um, little, I don't know what you call them. Like each one has a separate bit of mana and you can hold as many as you can or as few as you can. Okay? And that determines how many rights you have. Okay? Now, as we're going to see, there are different types of property ownership. Okay, from fee simple to life estates to leases, right? And each one of these different types of ownership is going to have a larger or smaller bundle. Okay, so the more rights you have in your bundle of rights, obviously, the more you own and the stronger your rights of possession are. Okay, and this, when it comes to the mahele, is going to be very, very key. Okay, so back to our definition here. If you guys want to review. Um, definitions. Okay, so let's move on. So now we're going to add a few more things for you guys. One, since we're talking about property, is a deed. Okay, so a deed is a very important concept, and it is an evidence of transfer or conveyance from grantor to grantee, some right or interest in real estate. Okay, so basically it's just evidence of title. Okay, if you own property or if you're transferring property, you need a deed. The deed is what gives evidence that you own it. Okay, it's not enough to just say I own it, right? It's like saying this is my car. Well, I mean, if I steal your car, how can we prove if we both went before a judge whose car it is, right? You have title to the car. You can furnish the paperwork and say, "This is my car. I have the paperwork to the car," and they'll throw me out of court. Okay, and the same is true for owning property. Okay, you need a receipt basically that you own it. Um, there are many types of deeds. Each comes with a different amount of rights in the bundle. A deed must be in writing to be legal. Personal property. Okay, so really the opposite of real property is personal property. And in the definition, that's what it says. And technically, if you want to just get colloquial about it, it's your stuff that is readily movable. Okay, personal property. Examples of personal property are furniture, cars, tractors, jewelry, music, your CD collection, whatever it is. Estate. Generally, an estate is anything and everything you own. Okay, the word estate is also interchangeable with the word tenancy. Okay, so that'll make sense later on. Um, and basically, when we think about estates, we usually think about very rich people, when they pass on or when they have amassed a lot of wealth, right? People are like, wow, they're leaving this huge estate, to their beneficiary or so on and so forth. But in reality, an estate is everything you own. If I die with, only my pencil in my hand, that's all I own, right? I sold everything else, then that is my estate. Okay. And you can think about it as that last sentence there, derived from the Latin root status. Okay, estate is derived from the word status. So you can think about an estate in asking the question, what is your status? What is your status in ownership? Right? So what is your status in estate ownership? Is it high or is it low? And that kind of helps to think about it too. Okay, so let's look at estates in real property. There are different forms and different levels, different statuses of estate ownership. Okay, so that should kind of make sense. And there were three major types, two categories, three major types, um, and each has a different status or level of ownership. And when I say status and level of ownership, again, I'm referring to the bundle of rights. A higher status has more rights in the bundle. A lower status has less rights in the bundle. Okay, um, so this describes the degree, nature, quantity, or extent of a person's interest in real property. Okay, interests you can just bookmark in your mind mean degree of ownership. Okay, again the bundle of rights, which might range from absolute ownership to mere possession. Okay, and we usually contrast freehold and leasehold. So let's look at those down there, right? Freehold is usually comprised of fee simple and life estate, and then leasehold is just leasehold properties or lease properties, something like that. Okay, but these three are going to be our major um, uh, uh, definitions right here: fee simple, life estate, and leasehold all together. Okay, so let's kind of reorganize that whole chart here, stick that up at the top, and look at all of these. Okay, freehold and what they are. Okay, freehold is just an ownership for an undetermined length of time. Okay, there are two major categories: fee simple and life estates. Okay, as we see there. Now, the most important part is this undetermined length of time, and it doesn't mean it's undetermined in the fact that nobody knows. It really means it's forever. Undetermined means there's no end to it. It's determined when I say it's determined as the owner, not when somebody else says it's time. Right? When you own it, it's up to you to say when, and you can say when that ownership will end. You can do that by selling it or willing it or whatever, donating it to the Humane Society, whatever it is, right? But you as the owner have that right to say when that time of ownership comes to an end. Nobody else. Okay? So fee simple, if we look down here, is the most complete form of ownership and the most bundle of rights available in real property. So when you buy a property in Hawaii, if it says fee simple on it, that's what you want. When you buy a property in fee simple, you own it, right? You own it. Again, you can paint your front door pink if you want. You can, park your car on the lawn, or you can park your car on a concrete slab, or whatever you want to do. You can build a fence. You can tear it down. That's part of property ownership. Includes the right of possession, quiet enjoyment, gift, sale, will, control, and use of a property. Okay, so life estate is a little bit different, but it's ownership, possession, and control of a parcel based on the duration of someone's lifetime. Okay, so again, think about time, right? Fee simple, there's no end to time. Life estate has a time limitation built into it, right? And what is that limitation? Well, it's built right into the definition: life. Someone owns it just for the duration of their lifetime. Once they die, it will go back to the person that gave it to them. Okay? Life estates are usually created by a deed or will and given to a life tenant. Life estates are signable but not inheritable. Okay? So it's basically giving someone a piece of property, and when they pass away, it reverts back to an estate.